Ashe family, this is your guy, Edwin Rose, aka Armand Rose, aka the Conscious Cowboy, aka the Las Vegas Cowboy. Um, so we're gonna dive right into this, fam. I'm gonna try to get out as much information as possible, but this is a movie review of Killers of the Flower Moon. Horrible name. Um, they could have explained the name a little bit deeper. I did not research the name and why they picked that. But this is about, if you watch the movie, and I think a lot of black folks should watch this movie. It's about the Osage people. And I've done, and in the beginning, when I first was watching this movie, I wanted to talk about how these are black folks and not Indians. But like I said, you guys won't do the research. So it is very easy to see cultural things once you start studying your people. Like I said, you have to start studying everything, family. You just can't be stuck like these are Indians and this is that. One of the earlier scenes. Now, some of you guys have never even seen this. Some of you guys have never even heard about this, but I want you to look up who kept their family members in the living room. In the coffin, they're dead, they're in the coffin, and they have basically the funeral, the wake at the house, and they leave the person in the house for a couple of days. Who does that? Okay? That is historically a black culture thing. And like I said, some of you guys are going to be too young to even know about this. But here's what kind of frustrates me. I've never given you guys any information that I was afraid for you to research. As a matter of fact, when I give you information, that's what I want you to do. I want you to research these things. I want you to look these things up and say, oh, you know what, Edwin? I did read about that. I did see that. So why are they doing that if that was historically a black thing to do? They didn't want the churches, the hospitals. They didn't want the funeral homes. They didn't want our business like that. They did not want our business like that. Now, I must say this as well. Everything that we've talked about, I'm talking about the conscious people, everything that we've talked about, I always try to tell you guys, everything is connected. This system is not by chance. This system has already taken place. These things have systematically already been introduced to people, been taught to people, and they brought it to this land. America is only 244 years old. It's one of the last countries to be colonized, one of the last countries to be invaded. And if you choose to go back and look at my videos, I've talked about this several occasions. I've talked about this with Cleopatra. I've talked about this with Queen Khalifa. All of these stories, I've talked to you guys about how they infiltrated our communities and got into power. Okay. Now, this whole movie is about manipulation. And Robert De Niro character is the master manipulator. But like I said, how he came into this situation with all of this information. Everything is connected. He did not come there and then all of a sudden become a mastermind, manipulator. No, he was already, that was his. Listen, family, these people are telling you the same story that happened thousands and thousands of years ago that happened in 1920s. Okay, this was also during the Red Summer. Now, once again, I wanted to show you guys that these people come from black people, but I feel as though it's irrelevant because once again, I've shown you guys the whitewashing of what you guys call the Native Americans or the natives. And if you really look at the word native and you research, they are members of the Aboriginal people. The Aboriginal people are us. This is Tamari. These are Tamarians. We got separated and lost from our culture because of the invasions of Blancumento. Blancumento is the political situation, like I told you guys. Once again, you can go look up the videos where I told you what they did. They brought in different people. Now, once again, they're trying to be more civilized, but if you look at all the situations, what they did in Congo, that shows you in Brazil, that shows you how they infiltrated, came in, killed all the men, raped all the women. There was no love story. See, when the brutality of the situation is there, you don't get a love story. When they're trying to make it seem like this is something that fell in love, you get a love story. Because there's more resources. You know, the bigger the resources, the love story that you get. When it's something that they can just go take, like Congo, they just went over there and just took the shit. They just went over there, manipulated the shit, and took it. No, America, Africa, Mexico, Hawaii, there's a love story. Why there's a love story? Because as Robert De Niro's character said, we wanted to keep it in the family. And even after Robert De Niro got out, he was talking about Leonardo DiCaprio's character. He's like, if he'd have just kept his mouth shut, we'd have all been rich. The manipulation over this situation was over oil. Okay? Once again, this happened during Red Summer, so they was trying to be political because these were certain people's ancestors. The African of their tribe, the African history of their tribe had already been erased. Okay? So these people are already whitewashed. Okay? So I said to myself, I'm not even going to talk about that. I got pictures of the Osage people, dark as me. I got pictures of, you guys can go back. Like I said, if you want to go down that road, you can go down that road. But it was just an interesting movie for you guys to see. I think you guys should see this movie. I think a lot of people should watch this movie and understand that when we talk about Masons, there's a scene in there. But everything is manipulation, man. And I've tried to tell people, you know, when we have conversations, that I get that if you want to do something, even if it's not like up on 100, it's like not on the up and up. If you're honest with people, 9 out of 10, you'd probably be more successful if you was just honest. Now, this man brought, and once again, like I said, the story is the same. This man brought in his nephew, manipulated his nephew to marry the Osage woman that owned some of the land. They killed 2 of her sisters. They killed her mother. And unbeknownst to Leonardo DiCaprio's character, they was poisoning his wife. He thought that he was giving her insulin for her diabetes. And they even tell her, you know, to give her this, put this in a vial, it'll calm her down. He even drank it one time. So I didn't kind of get that. Like, she figured it out at towards the end. And, but the biggest manipulation to me in the movie is the manipulation of Leonardo DiCaprio's character, because his uncle had manipulated him in such a way that he was cool with killing this woman's sisters. Now, mind you, throughout the movie, and once again, throughout the movie, they made it look like he fell in love with this woman. Throughout the movie, they made it look like he had issues with what he was doing. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to challenge it and all this other stuff. But I will say this: there is a couple of scenes that caught my attention. There was flies in the scene. Now, I actually had to look this up. I actually had to, and I've been watching this movie for 3 days. So it's a 3-hour movie. You know, I don't sit around and watch movies like that, fam. So it's 3 days to watch this movie. I think it's 3 hours and 15 minutes. I don't know if it's still up. I was just going back through getting some notes, but I think it's 3 hours. See if it'll pop up real quick. But anyway, there was flies in the scene, and I did not understand why 206 minutes, that's how long the movie is. But I didn't understand why there was flies in the movie. And like I said, I just did a quick recap and just refresh my memory on some of the scenes, you know, from the last few days, and I let the credits run. Now, in the credits, you can hear the buzzing and stuff like that. I'm like, what's up with the flies? So I had to go back and do it and kind of look at the scenes where the flies were, and he was swatting at the flies, or you hear the buzzing. It means that the character is having inner turmoil. Like he's fighting against himself or what he's doing and what he's been doing and what he should be doing. And if you go back and if you watch it and you hear that buzzing or you see him swatting at flies, he's struggling internally. That's what that means. And I was like, oh, okay. So y'all really do be putting the truth in the movies, man. And, you know, with all the different messages, with subliminal messages, with numerology, with the nameplay, with everything. So this just confirms to me, man, that all you youngsters out there that's doing this, don't do it and add bullshit to it. When you break a movie down, don't reach for the stars. Go for the obvious. Go for the obvious. This is a movie about Red Summer and the Osage people, because they are descendants of African people. That's why they got hit in the Red Summer. Okay? Now, you're going to say, oh, yeah, when it wasn't, the Red Summer was just an attack on black people. Once again, black people are the first people categorized as Indian. People that look like me was called Indian. Now, after that, they were raped, they were pillaged, they faced Blancumento, which was a likening of the race. And I've tried to get you guys to really start researching Blancumento. Look it up, family. It was a political thing. Once again, everything is tied together. This happened in the 1920s, so it had already happened. These are ancestors of these people's forefathers, okay? So during the movie, there's a explosion, and they actually shouted out that this is happening. This is Oklahoma all over, and they actually show Robert De Niro's character watching some news, you know, at a theater, like he's watching the news and stuff. And they talk about Little Africa. Now, if you guys know about Little Africa was one of the infamous cities that was destroyed during Red Summer. So Little Africa was built by African people and Cherokee. So why would Cherokee people be okay with their town called Little Africa if they wasn't descendants of Africans? See, this is why I tell y'all, like I said, man, it's just things that you guys have to start researching and looking up for yourselves, and just start doing it on a level where you have clarity. Because, yeah, it's crazy. Now, some of the things that I wanted to talk about, man, the blatant racism in this movie. You're going to see some of the natives talk about how, you know, one baby is dark-skinned and one baby is light-skinned, you know. The same thing that the Brazilians talk about, you know. I know you're Brazilian, but you're light-skinned and you're dark-skinned. Oof. Oh, God bless one and curse the other. people people that come from us, this is why I'm starting not to give a fuck. People that are direct descendants of African people are so racist about dark-skinned people. Hispanics, Hawaiians, Asians, shit, all of them. All of them. Anybody that you know that come from us, they hate the darker version of themselves or of us. So you can connect that to the Red Summer. You can connect that to this movie, all the racism. And we talked about the dead members in the living room. We talked about the manipulation. We talked about the Freemason scene. The Freemason scene was weird because his nephew wasn't a Freemason. It doesn't seem like he was a Freemason. But your boy even says he was a, and this is why I tell y'all that this was not like, okay, when you read Old Boy's story, like you read the real person that Robert De Niro is playing, that he moved to this town and he was broke and all this other stuff, and then he became, you know, he became the king out there. Nah, he went there with a plan. The plan was to get that oil anyway. That was his plan. And he couldn't, and he was literally killing people off and putting his children or his family members in line. Oh, this fool was also cashing out insurance policies on like all the people in the town. And they don't, listen, they don't really dive into it a lot. There's a scene in there where he's trying to collect on somebody's funeral, and they were contesting it like, nah, man, this goes to such and such. He was like, nah, man, this is here. You're gonna regret this. He was almost like an insurance scammer. He bought a policy for fire for his property and then set his property on fire. $30,000 policy. But this dude character is kind of interesting because once again, we talk about it's all connected. Family, if you watch this movie, and this happened in the 1920s, when you talk about the insurance, you talk about the Masons, you talk about the altering of history, you talk about this facade ass love story that they try to make. How do you love somebody and you poison them? You feel me? And he was struggling internally. But this is why I said to you guys that the biggest struggle that a lot of people are gonna have is dealing with these people. Like, we know we got issues. Black people, y'all know we got issues, right? Now, imagine all these people that done all of this manipulation, done all of this, you know, killing, for senseless killing. What have they done to get themselves right mentally? So we're still, all this stuff that I wrote down, we're still being, they're strategic murders. Anytime somebody invents something that's gonna, that can break ground and do something positive in this world, they end up dead. Anytime somebody shows that, you know, there's a different way to live and eat and be healthy and certain things, they end up dead. And the Osage people signed treaties. They signed a treaty in 1808 and 1825. And the other manipulation that I just, it just irked me, is these two characters, Robert De Niro's character and Leonardo DiCaprio's character, had them kill their own people. And it was just, once again, you can see it in today's society. Everything that this movie touched on, you can see it today. You can look out and see. You guys love, I can't even remember the dude's name, the little rapper, Blue something. Y'all love him so much, but who killed him? Y'all love all these people so much, but this is why I always talk about unity and pure unity. Like, you have to look at me as your brother, like birth brother. Like, you know, we're family, because these people will infiltrate your program and turn us against us. Like, they show it, family. And anybody on here want to talk about reparations? I'm gonna do a quick little touch on reparations, man. It might not be quick. Reparations. Do these people in this world right now own slaves? No, but everybody in this world that's empowered benefited from slaves. You have the stock market that is still running to this day. You have about 4 or 5 businesses that are still running to this day that started off of the backs of slaves. Now, we've talked about the just enslaving people. We should be get compensated. For all the ideas stolen, we should get compensated. All the people murdered, we should get compensated. All the technology that we've unwillingly given up, we should be compensated. All the ideas, all the fashion, everything that we've done and had contributed to in this culture, we should be compensated for. The music, the clothing, the word cowboy, all of that, the movement cowboy, we should be compensated. And it goes on, right? So what I don't like is when it comes to us, everybody has, oh, well, we didn't do this to you guys. Well, you know what you did. There's a history of what was done, but nobody was compensated for the things that you've done. I don't think none of these people was alive in the 1920s when this stuff actually happened in Osaka, right? So in 2011, they were awarded $380 million settlement. They already have their own land. They already have everything. 2011, they were awarded $380 million. Now, once again, I've given you guys a lot of information on why I say 50 million per slave descendant. 50 million per slave descendant. 50 million per slave descendant, because once again, all the rape, all the turmoil, all the ideas, all the stuff that we've given up. And once again, all these people got to do is click a button and it goes to everybody's bank account. It's not like you're giving these people money. It would be a sad state for anybody to take anything less than $50 million per descendant. And if something happens to me, it goes to my children. And here's the thing: people should be able to come out with more than just, it should go to my grandmother, then to my grandmother's kids. My grandfather should get it, and then it should be dispersed. So by the time I get it, it should be about $80-90 million. So, and I get my own 50 because I'm a descendant. But my grandmother was a descendant. She passed. So it goes to her 2 children. So my mama would get a check, and then half of what her 50 million should be. So she should be getting 75 million. And then I should get my 50 million, and we all good, man. I think you should take care of these people. I think we should be taken care of. We should be highly compensated, not just compensated. We should be highly compensated. And now, I brought up the treaties for this. The Aboriginal people of Timeri, this land, which is an African country, which I've told you guys, I don't mind you guys going to check out and challenge what I'm saying. The first treaty that was signed was with Morocco. You guys have broken that peace treaty. It's a peace treaty. You guys have broken that peace treaty time and time again. I don't want nothing to do with Morocco. I don't want nothing to do with this government and the state that it has shown its hatred towards our people, the tyranny that we face, the tyranny and the injustice that we face. Now, this movie should have been should have been called something else. The fallout of the Red Summer, one of the fallouts of the Red Summer, or Osaka Red Summer. Because I think once you guys understand and start studying Red Summer, you guys are going to see Little Africa Red Summer, Osaka Red Summer, all these other towns Red Summer. Okay, so that was this one was about, but they treated it a little different because once again, Blancamento had already happened, and these were already lighter colored, you know, offsprings, and they were semi-rich because they hit oil. Now, other little things, tidbits in this movie that we, you know, like once again I've touched on, and all of this stuff is connected, man. It was such a travesty to see. Like I said, we've talked about, you know, people being or, and I don't think we've talked about it to this extent. I've always talked to you guys about the grave robbing of our ancestors, and how these our stones and our potteries and our jewelry is in museums. Now, that's just some of the stuff. That's just some of the stuff. Now, mind you, this township was wealthy. Everybody was wealthy. They was taking care of each other. Everybody was wealthy. They was buying cars. They had nice jewelry. And one of the scenes was these people were literally, and Leonardo's character was part of it, they were robbing the graves. And not only robbing the graves, but the dude that actually, the coroner, he was like making fake, they didn't show it, he was making fake jewelry and swapping it out for their own, you know, and just killing the town. And then your boy, one of his sister-in-law died. They went to bury her, $4,000. Now, same coroner, funeral home, buried a person earlier for $300. Buried a white person earlier for $300. And Leonardo went off, and he was like, "Well, y'all got the money." Now, like I said, if you don't know the history of the insurance fraud in this country, of the funeral home frauds in this country, you'll miss all of these gems. You'll miss that all of this has been systematically in place for years, and we are allowing it to happen because we won't separate, you know. Like I said, man, I think you guys should watch this movie and then take notes. Take notes on some of the things that you see that you're interested in. Are you interested in the Masons? Study the Masons. I'm tired of trying to tell y'all that these people are evil manipulators. Go study them. Understand psychology. Understand manipulation. Understand that we have to start supporting each other. Understand that we have to stop taking pot shots at each other. We actually have to say, you know what? It doesn't matter the issue. I stand by you. We have to get to that point. You know, if we don't get to that point, we're all going to be manipulated into some shit that we don't want to be in, or there's going to be strategic murders, and we're just going to be burying the dead, and just, you know, all you Christians will be out there crying and acting fool, talking about why did God take their baby. No, it's evil people like this. It's evil people like this that has manipulated the world for you guys to be on your knees praying to a God when we should be getting together and going and take care of business, and we don't do that. But anyway, like I said, there was plenty. There wasn't plenty. There was a few situations in there where they was, like I said, talked about Tulsa, Oklahoma, talked about Little Africa, talked about the other towns in Red Summer. So once again, study. Go look it up. Go look up Red Summer. Go look it up. Go, and when you see those names, go to those, click on those names or copy paste those names and link and go see what happened to those cities. And once again, like I said, this was not something that was a mishap. This was a strategic plan. This was the same but they just went in a little harder when it came to the all black towns. Once again, this town is a little different because they already been colonized. They already, you know, they already had their money. They already had everything. They already been whitewashed. And what they were trying to do is what I told you they did in Africa. They wanted to get in and marry. And once they get in and marry, have an offspring, now they own the land. Now they own the oil. That's what Robert De Niro's character was really trying to do. And once again, this is not something that he learned in 1920. This is something that's been going on for thousands of years. Okay. So this went long enough, man. I just wanted to give y'all this gem on. Let me get the right pronunciation of it. Killers of the Flower Moon. Interesting movie, man. I think all black people should watch it. You guys be safe. Hotep.